Recorded live from the Engine Room in Broad Ripple, this is the Voices of Indy live stream hosted by Josh Gillespie. Voices of Indy is a show dedicated to giving you the opportunity to know the musical, visual, and theatrical arts of Indianapolis, Indiana. Today's show is sponsored by Indianapolis Independent Entertainment. IIE LLC aims to help local DIY artists, freelancers, and businesses within Indianapolis by establishing a network of creatives who can connect with each other to generate more paying creative opportunities. Their goal is to eliminate some of the intimidating barriers within the entertainment industry and expand the local art and music scenes in Indianapolis. Interested individuals can learn more about IIE by visiting their website, www.indyent.com. That's INDYINDIEENT.com, and fill out a free application to discuss how you and IIE can redefine making it together. And this week's guest, I'm very excited about, is indie pop singer, I'm going to get it right this time. This week's guest is indie pop singer-songwriter Arselia Kent. Her music is produced by her brother, Garrett Langy Bartles, and his self-built studio, Naptime Recordings, which I follow on Instagram. Mm-hmm. I suggest everyone follow Naptime Recordings on Instagram. Follow Arselia Kent on Instagram. Anyway, thank you for being on the show, Arselia.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. You have a lot going on.
Yeah.
But for those who want to find you, who may not know who you are, and they come across your stuff, you only have 3 songs on Spotify.
That's correct.
Or all streaming services, I should say.
Yeah.
So what should people know about Arselia Kent?
About my music or about me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, I am like you said, singer-songwriter from Indianapolis. I would say in the indie pop genre.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 songs out, but my album is coming out on April 21st.
Exciting.
It's titled Villain. And I think that people who have heard my 3 songs will be a little confused by the rest of the album.
Really? Oh, this is going to be fun to talk about then.
Yeah, I think it's I kind of picked like the 3 biggest songs
Mm-hmm.
as my 3 singles, and then the album hits, and there kind of is a lot of different ways that it goes throughout the album.
How would you define your music? So when I was looking at your Spotify bio, note to artists, please put a bio on Spotify. It certainly helps people like me and people who could find you. You listed a bunch of different inspirations, and they really kind of cross the spectrum.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that, because I saw names like Justin Bieber and also names I had never heard of before. So I'm like, okay, I clearly have to check out the people I've never heard of before. Mm. So tell me a little bit about your inspirations and how that influences your music.
Yeah, I grew up listening to so many different artists because I have 7 older brothers, and they all had different tastes in music.
Sure.
And I looked up to my brothers, so I always would kind of listen to all the different things that they were listening to.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just through that process, I've picked up a lot of different people that I'm influenced by.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like my main childhood influence besides just like pop music is blues and
Really?
Yeah, which does not make sense with my music. I have one song that has like a little bit of bluesiness in it, but like the rest,
this is fun.
Yeah. So Johnny Lang has been like my favorite. Do you know who Johnny Lang?
Oh,
okay,
I know.
I was gonna say. I'm like, which ones do you not know?
No. I actually saw Johnny Lang open for Aerosmith. This is going to date me back in 1998.
Okay. I was 2.
And wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. But it was a fantastic show.
Yeah.
I mean, him as an opener, he literally, the show was sold out. He blew everyone out of the water.
Yeah. He's incredible. I've seen him live 3 times, I think. And every time, I mean, anytime he's close to here,
Mm-hmm.
I will see him live because he's just so good.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was my favorite artist growing up. And, I've always liked pop music since I was little,
Mm-hmm.
but I have like hints of blues, and I went through a country phase, and I love just like indie, like straight indie music. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I love The National. I love alternative, like The Killers.
Mm-hmm. Vampire Weekend?
I don't really listen to Vampire
That's
Weekend
okay.
much.
That's all right. I don't either.
Okay.
I just it's when I hear indie alternative, that's a name that pops into my head.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're definitely not on my like top people, but
The National's a great choice,
I
though.
love The National. I covered one of their songs at my show
You
last week.
did?
Yeah.
Which one?
I Need My Girl.
Oh,
Yeah,
good
it was so
choice.
fun. I loved doing that. So yeah, I feel like I've just pulled from a lot of different places. I mean, there's, random like Bob Marley, but
Mm-hmm.
my songs have no reggae in them, but
Sure.
I just have like a lot of different influences. And then of course my brother is my producer, so his influences are also in there, and
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely more like Dashboard Confessional. He loves The National too. Kind of like, yeah. I don't
So
know.
what
There's
is little emo punk
a
pop
little,
kind of
yeah, a
stuff in
little
there?
bit, just a little taste of that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. Did I answer your question? I feel like
You
I'm just wandering now.
no 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 no. It's fine to wonder.
Okay.
I mean, wondering will get you to a different place that you didn't fully expect. So
Yeah.
that's part of the fun of a conversation like that.
Mhm.
But yes, you did answer my
Okay,
question.
great.
So no, you did just fine. Um, so with that, how have you seen that like influence your music?
Mm,
I'm interested to like because I've heard your 3 singles. They're great.
thank you.
Um, but if the album is wildly different from what you've already released, I'm interested to know how do you see those inspirations? Because this is your first one, correct?
Yes,
Yes. So is it a full length album or is it an EP?
it's a full length.
Awesome. How many
Mhm.
songs?
I keep getting this mixed up on my head. I'm pretty sure it's 10 songs and a poem.
Oh, there's
Yes,
a spoken word track.
there is. Yes.
Very nice. That's
Yeah,
very different.
I know.
Is that like do you just randomly drop that in the set in the track listing or is it at the beginning or at the end?
It's in the middle.
Okay.
Um,
Kind of
it
like an
kind of,
intermission piece.
yeah, and it has it's kind of like a poem with an outro. So it
Okay.
is two
Okay.
separate tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So if like you want to just listen to the song, you don't have to listen to the poem. But like, yeah, I kind of took the poem and then took a few of the words from the poem and turned that part into a song.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, I dig that.
great.
I dig that.
Yeah.
Now, I did not something similar because I am no poet, but on my first album, I have an instrumental like smack dab in the middle of
Yeah.
the album. And to me, that's like, I remember when I was track listing the thing, I almost called the song Intermission
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, it feels like an intermission,
Yeah.
you know? But it really was just the end of side one.
Yeah. Do you
But
know Phineas?
yeah,
He has one of those, just an instrumental track in the middle. It's called like Peaches, I think.
nice,
It's really good.
nice.
Yeah.
So, I thought I heard him. I thought I heard our producer walk by. Um. Anyway, no, that's fascinating. Now you've also said that you hope that in your bio that you hope your relationship with your brother is like Billie Eilish and
Yes.
Phineas's. How does that what kind of relationship is that like? How do you see that playing out other than the obvious?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of say that as a joke in
Sure.
a way.
Yeah, yeah.
They are like best friends. Garrett and I are best friends. We've gotten even closer over the past few months being in the studio together.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way that Billy and Phineas work together is so cool. Like they just like bounce ideas off of each other and then just something magical comes out
Mm-hmm.
and they've won tons of Grammys and
Yeah. There's the benefit of that. Yeah,
yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of just a little joke just cuz they're siblings and make cool stuff
Mm-hmm.
and we're siblings and make cool stuff.
Yeah,
So
no. What kind of impact has your brother had on the creative process for you and in the creation of this album? What's the name of the album? Because we've talked about this over. What's
the
Oh, wait a
al-
minute. Yes.
Villain, yeah.
Villain, that's right.
Mhm.
I can't remember if you said that or not.
Yeah, I
I
think I
know you
did that.
may have
I don't
in the
know if it was before or
pre-conversation,
after,
whatever.
yeah.
Anyway, so it's called Villain.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I pretty much decided I wanted to record an album and then a month later was in the studio
Mhm.
and
Oh, wow.
because of my brother,
Mhm.
like I growing up didn't really feel like I was good enough to actually pursue music. I I've had just like a lot of mental blocks about
Mm-hmm.
it. And then the second I went to Garrett and was like, I think I want to record an album, he's like, yes, let's do it. So even just from the fact of like getting me to do it, like
Mm-hmm.
he's been a part of the creative process. And then I've never recorded an album before. So like I, his role in this album is just so instrumental and like pun intended, pun not intended, whatever. And he basically just like walked me through the whole process of like I brought him my little acoustic song and he's like, "Okay, here's what we're going to do." And like he's really talented with multiple instruments, so like as a recording, I'm basically just like sitting there letting him create
Mm-hmm.
on my song and just kind of guiding the process. Like I I did bring, like songs like what's the word I used for them? I guess just like inspiration songs,
Mm-hmm.
like production songs, like
Oh
that
yeah,
I'm.
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'd bring those to him and be like, I kind of want it to feel like this, but then he would just like basically take it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't like something, I would tell him. Or like if I wanted it to be a little different, I would tell him. But like a lot of what you hear are his ideas on the album
Mm-hmm.
and him creating on the album.
Does he influence like even the way that you sing to like other aspects of the song? Like, I mean, because I know that you know I'm in the second experience of recording an album, and my first time through, I used my cousin as a producer,
Mm-hmm.
and vocally, he just kind of let me do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
We would come up with harmonies together, but mostly it was just me. Now, Anthony, on the other hand, who is my producer here at the Engine Room, he's really directing me vocally,
Mm-hmm.
like changing the way that I may have sung songs to make it better.
Right.
Um, but it's not what I originally thought.
Yeah.
He comes in here with it being like, and he explains why, and I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I
Yeah.
wish I had known that when I was doing my first album, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Do you get that kind of feedback from Garrett?
Yeah, I think he kind of gives me like a little bit. It's almost somewhere in the middle, I think. He
Mm-hmm.
lets me sing it. He wants me to sing it, like how I would sing it.
Mm-hmm.
But then as I get more comfortable, like while I'm singing the song in the studio, he'll then like give little instructions of like maybe sing this part a little softer, or I really liked how you sang it
Yeah.
on this
Okay.
take, maybe
Mm-hmm.
take it more like that. And then just like learning how to sing into a studio microphone, it feels so different than just like singing in my living room,
Mm-hmm.
especially since I'm getting the direct feedback into my ears
Mm-hmm.
of what I'm hearing. And I've been working with my voice coach too. Like I've realized that I sing differently when I'm singing into a microphone than I do out loud, and sometimes it causes me to strain. And I think it's like
Oh.
my perfectionist, like I can hear every single like little tiny imperfection as I'm singing, and it's going directly into my ears.
Oh.
So there's just been a lot that I've had to work through.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Garrett's definitely like he's good about directing if there's something that needs to be directed. And even like we've changed some melodies on the fly in the studio.
Really? That's
Yeah.
cool.
Where either I'm like, I'm not sure what I think about this melody. Now that I'm singing it and hearing it, I'm like, I don't really know if I like it. And then so he kind of helps me like work those melodies out.
Mm-hmm.
Or like on Villain, there was one note. He was like, what if you just sang it this note instead of that note? It just
Mm-hmm.
make it like a little more interesting. And my brain like froze up because of it, because I'm like, wait, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Because it was just such an interesting note, but it does just like add an element of interest. Like he's always trying to think of like, how can we just bring something a little bit interesting in, or do the take a little bit differently so that it's not just all like one dynamic, basically.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Anthony does a good job of doing
yeah,
that. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Because sometimes they'll tend to have the same dynamic
yeah,
going on.
yeah,
And he's like, okay, you need to switch this up, otherwise it's getting boring.
right. Yeah, I think it's like, I don't know. I think you're just like, you get in the studio and you're like, I'm going to give it my all the
Mm-hmm.
whole time.
No,
But then
exactly.
it's like,
Yeah.
you don't need to. You
Yeah.
don't
No,
need
no,
to.
no. That's kind of the beauty of it, is that if you just kind of let things go
Yep.
Hold nothing precious,
Mm-hmm.
because essentially who you're working with wants to come out with the best product as well. They're not trying to sabotage you.
Right.
And so that sounds like you have that great relationship going with Garrett, that he can kind of provide that feedback to
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yeah, and I really trust his opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and I trust him in general, so it's nice. Like, I feel like safe that he's going to make sure he gets the best out of me
Mm-hmm.
in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, where have you felt like when recording this album, like it seems like a lot of these songs sound very personal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that they stretch across the years, so to speak. Um, and did you feel like you were exposing a nerve to a certain degree by writing some of these songs? Because I don't know how many of them are personal.
Mm-hmm.
I know as a songwriter, you tend to write what you know
Yeah.
and try to not be too autobiographical.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's a lot going on, especially when I listen to Villain or Monster. There's a lot going on in these songs.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that like for you to kind of bring that to the fore, like, to say, okay, I'm bringing this to the public now?
Yeah. I My songs are very personal because I process
Mm-hmm.
through writing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's something that I struggle with is to write like upbeat happy songs. So like
Oh, that who doesn't? I
well,
mean,
yeah.
unless you're Pharrell, everyone's writing sad,
That's
depressing
true.
songs.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, it's harder, I guess, for me to like I'm not like a super sad, anxious person all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
I think those are the moments when I need to process and I have a hard time just like verbalizing it. So
Mm-hmm.
then I just take it to music. And so yeah, when I guess bringing it to the public is it is like I know nerve-wracking in a way. Like I'm putting out something that is my heart and I'm very good at hiding my emotions. So
Mm-hmm.
like to then just expose them all like that, it
Yeah.
is, like kind of scary, but in a way, like it is also like freeing to be like, this is what I feel about this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like just putting on a mask all the time and
Mm-hmm.
like pretending that everything's fine.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it is a lot of the situations and stories that I tell on this album are ones that I've like healed from and moved past.
Yeah.
So it's not
Mm-hmm.
as vulnerable anymore to share the songs because they're not raw. Like Death of Me, for after I wrote it, I couldn't get through it without crying for months.
Wow.
Like I probably
Really?
played it 100 times before I
And that
could
is a
play it.
beautiful song.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Um,
I can imagine. I
yeah.
mean, I can hear the emotion in that song, especially with the way that that it was produced. We were talking about this off air, that the song builds on itself throughout the entire thing until it has this like crescendo where it's just you again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like the story of it is just, over time, like throughout the situation, like I was like slowly broken down, broken down until I just had enough and it was time to move on. And so yeah, it kind of through the music tells the story of it as well. Yeah.
That's really good musicianship. I mean, I'm impressed with that.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I want to talk to you about the song Monster real quick, because I'm noticing you're counting down from 1,000.
Yeah. Yep. Uh-huh.
But the song mentions 1,000,000.
Yep.
So what is the significance of the countdown, other than it does seem that the way that you're counting down does match up with the rhythm of the song?
It does.
So was that
The song started with that.
okay?
So the whole story of the counting is, which I realize it makes no sense if you don't know the story. And like I've had so many people be like, "What is that about?" But so there's an app called Headspace. It's like a meditation app, and I would use it to like help me fall asleep at night. They had like a sleep meditation one.
Well, I kind of wondered if it was
So at the end of the meditation that I like to listen to, it said, like, if your mind is still awake and you don't feel like you're gonna fall asleep right away, then just start counting backwards from 1,000. And so I would in my head be counting 999, 900, and it became like super rhythmic. And every time I started doing that, after a while, I was like, I need to write a song over this. And the only time I would do the meditations was when I was feeling anxious and had like lots of irrational thoughts and like, I mean, I think everyone's experienced this at some point, but when you're falling asleep, like the worst of the worst of the worst thoughts come to your mind and things that probably will never happen. Or you're replaying like, so one of the lines that goes in the background is, I said it, I didn't, and I just can't believe it. And it's just like you replaying like, I can't believe I said that in that conversation with someone. I can't believe I didn't say this one thing that I should have said, or I can't believe I did that thing. You're like replaying all of your like social interactions, and then you're thinking about like, what if, my friend's driving home from my house right now. What if they get in a car crash and die? Or like, there's just so many like irrational thoughts that you have. And it gets to a point, like that song builds too. It like gets to a point where you're just like almost inconsolable for no reason, because it's all just irrational. And so that's kind of the counting. It goes all the way through to the end, and then at the very end you just hear me go,
yeah, no, there's a sigh,
which is like the moment I fall asleep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then you wake up and everything's fine. I just feel like, actually the sigh I didn't even mean to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I was counting, and like when you're going 999, 900,
well, if
for
you're counting
multiple minutes long, you do not get to breathe. Like, it's so hard to breathe and quickly and stay on beat. So at the end, like, I just went, and Garrett caught it and put it in there. Like, that was his idea.
I love those little things.
Yeah.
That just add to the song. That it's very, I don't know, there's something very artistic about it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So that's so cool. That's part of it. So we're gonna get to hear a couple of songs from you real quick. What songs are they? So that our listeners / viewers will know what to expect.
They are Death of Me, which is already out, and then Cheap. Is this coming out before my album?
No, it's not. It's coming out next Monday. Well, so it'll be on
like a week from yesterday.
It's the 17th.
Okay, so
if you're watching this, no, we're not live. This is the 17th.
The second one is Cheap, which will not be out yet by the time this podcast comes out.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you want me to talk more about it, or
no, no, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about them when we come back.
Cool.
So let's take a quick break. We're going to listen to Death of Me and I got
Cheap.
That. Yep. And Cheap from Arselia Kent. We'll be right back after this. Please stick around because these are some amazing songs. We'll be right back.
Didn't ask you to push me down, but you did. I didn't ask you to walk me out, but you did. When you went behind my back, I learned to close my lips. Talk is cheap, but damage is the price. I didn't know when it started that you would be the death of me. How could I know the devil And I thought you'd be the better half of me until you utterly dug my grave. You assumed me to be lying out to feed, so I forgot how to be wild, pure and free. I didn't know when it started that you would be the death of me. How could I know the devil lived in you when you claimed to be the light in me? And some nights I'm fine, and some nights I lie awake thinking how you're out there trying to save the world, but you're really just hurting it, hurting it, hurting it. And some days I'm fine, and some days I can't escape thinking how you're out there, thinking you were kind, but you really just hurt me, hurt me, you hurt me, hurt me. I didn't know when it started that you would be the death of me. How could I know the devil lived in you when you claimed to be the light in me? Oh, you hurt me, you hurt me, hurt me, you hurt me, hurt me, hurt me, hurt me, you hurt me. For my birthday, you gifted me a breakup. I thought it was a hat trick. Then I realized it wasn't April Fool's. You really didn't want me, you wanted someone new. And that's when I decided I'd never get back with you. Hey! Under disco light on our prom night, separate dates. You forced me to dance with you while I tried to deny you, but I didn't want to make a scene 'cause all our friends were watching, and I couldn't believe that you do that. But if I would have paid attention, you never really listened. Even your cousin took my side. You made me a mixed city of songs that made you think of me. Turns out you lied through your teeth. So I made a list of everything I didn't want in a man that you did to me. And you didn't cheat, but it felt like it. You didn't cheat, but you played the role real nice. You didn't cheat, but you were unbothered by me. You didn't cheat,
We are back with Arselia Kent. You just heard Death of Me and Cheap. I am very excited to learn more about these songs. Now, you addressed a bit about Death of Me in the previous segment, but go into it a little bit more, and then we'll talk about Cheap. So, what's the story behind Death of Me?
So, Death of Me was about a situation I had with the church, and there were some people in the church that made me feel like they didn't get to know me before they made judgments about me, and made a lot of assumptions about me. And it was a small town too, so everyone knows everybody, and there was just a lot of like behind my back talking. Nobody really came to me and talked to me about anything. So there was just like a lot of hurt with that, and wore me down over time. And it kind of has shaped my faith in a lot of ways. I really don't go to church anymore. I do still believe in God, but I look at it a lot differently now.
Sure,
and I think that the way, I don't want to just start bashing the church, but the way that,
like I said, this conversations will take us wherever they take us.
I think that the way that their church is, for the most part, set up in the United States is harmful in a lot of ways. I do believe churches do good. Like, I think there are good things that come from churches, but I just think the whole system is a little messed up. And I think that, if you look, like, Christians claim to follow Jesus, and if you look at Jesus's words, he sums up everything by saying to love God and love people. And I think that the way the church is set up has taught people to be very, very judgmental and critical instead of just loving people. And they've convinced themselves that being harsh in the way that they're truthful with people is loving, and it's just not. It's not always loving.
No, I'm tracking with you in many ways. So I've told this story many times, so I'll try to keep it short for those who have watched this and be like, Josh, stop talking. My first album is what I call my divorce album from politics. Like, my background is in politics, or it's my political deconstruction.
Yeah.
And a lot of that came from actually listening to the Bible on my way to work and on my way back.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of what you were saying. I was like, what I'm hearing in a lot of places, whether it's at church or whether it's in politics, doesn't jive with what I've been told.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't say that I've had a spiritual deconstruction just so much as I've had maybe a spiritual recalibration.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would agree with you that there is a lot of judgmental things going on.
Yeah. Totally.
So I hear you when you're talking about that.
Yeah.
I can see how that would really hit home.
Yeah, it's definitely like, I grew up as like, the perfect little good Christian girl, and I loved it when I was a kid. it was great. And then as I grew up, I started to see more and more of the flaws in it. And I think a lot of people will be like, oh, it's just because people run it and people are imperfect. And that's true. Like, there is grace in that because people are imperfect. But I think, since I haven't been going to church, I've had to create a different type of community around me.
Sure.
And a lot of, I have both, Christians and people who don't identify as Christians in my circle now. And I've felt so much more loved after I left the church than I ever did a part of it. And that's like, it goes against everything that my brain knows.
Sure. No, I understand. Yeah.
But it's my experience. And I think Death of Me is just me processing that. Like, the bridge of it is, some nights I'm fine. Some nights I lie awake thinking how you're out there trying to save the world, but you're really hurting it. And I think that's like, I think people in the church have good intentions. I think they really do think that they're helping the world in a lot of ways. In some ways they are, but I've just seen so much more hurt come out of it. And
no, I hear you.
Yeah.
No, I resonate with what you're saying.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I have to imagine that's not easy to talk about at times.
Yeah, it's not. I think there's a lot of people in my life that are still very much involved in that, and I don't shame that in any way. Like, if you feel like happy and content being a part of it, then, and you're being good to people, then then I'm fine with it. But it is hard because there is a stigma of like, if you're not going to church, then I'm concerned for you, and there must be something wrong with you, or like, there's like the second you're not in a church on Sunday mornings, there's shame around it. Which again is like, that's not what this is about.
No,
like,
no, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm hearing about
yeah.
you. So tell me about Cheap. If we can switch gears.
Let's switch gears and talk about my high school boyfriend.
See, I was sensing something in that song.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we're releasing something here from a long time ago.
From a long time ago. I mean,
Yeah,
I said that I'm 16 in the song.
Yeah.
So that song is funny to me, and I always say it shows it's the one song I'm embarrassed about because I wrote it when I was 26, 10 years after it happened.
Hey, I get it.
Yeah. I wasn't, like, still upset about it or anything, but I wrote a song about this situation when I was 16.
Okay.
And my husband still sings the song to this day. Like, he knows
the one that you wrote at 16?
About my ex-boyfriend, yeah. I'll literally wake up some mornings and he's like in the shower singing it, and I'm like, why am I waking up to my breakup song from when I was 16?
That's a cruel sense of humor that your husband has.
But
it's hilarious,
he
though.
likes the song, so that's why I'm like, thank you, I guess, but I don't want to hear this song anymore. But it was a good story. Like, there was a lot of good content there, and I was just happened to be like reading through my old journals one day. I used to journal all the time, and I was looking for something to write about because once I decided I wanted to pursue music, I wanted to get better at writing and wanted to like have things to write about. And my life is not as crazy. There's not a ton going on. There's a lot going on in my life, but there's not been a lot to write about. You know what I mean?
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
was
get it.
like, I need something to write about. I'm reading my journals. I come across this situation, and like my mind is just like, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that happened while I'm reading my journals, because I just literally forget all of those details. But then I read what I wrote when I was 16, and I'm like, okay, I'm writing a song about this because this is good content.
Well, what? It's kind of amazing you still have journals that are 10 years old.
Oh, I keep them all.
Keep them all?
Yeah.
Oh, then you might have some content there that you can go back to for quite a while.
Yes. I don't know that I will. I was very dramatic when I was a teenager.
What teenager isn't?
That's true. I feel like growing up, I never saw myself as a dramatic person. And people always told me that I was really mature when I was younger.
Sure.
So I'm like, but I think I was just good at masking and pretending like I was mature. And then you read my journals and you're like, oh my God, like what? That is not mature. That is a crazy teenager. And I was just like everybody else, even though I faked it. But yeah, there's definitely content, but I'm ready to like, start writing some more mature content in my songs.
So kind of bring it up to, age 26, 27,
Yes. Yeah.
bring it more into the now.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I feel like literally today I wrote a song, and this is like the first like complete song I've written since before I started writing the album.
Oh, wow.
I think. Well, that may not be true. But in the past few months, it's the first song I've written.
Yeah.
And because I just like felt energized and like ready to write a song, which I hadn't
that's
felt in a
fun.
while because
Yeah.
I've been so focused on recording and practicing for shows and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm like now like, okay, I want to like elevate the thinking and the lyricism and all that stuff to be more like a 27-year-old mind instead of a 16-year-old mind.
Well, I was when I was listening to you sing that song, I was like, oh, I'm getting some Taylor Swift vibes here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, and honestly, I was in Villain. There's like some I hope you know who this artist is. Natalie Imbruglia.
I don't.
That's okay. She had one huge song, which
Okay.
turned out to be a cover. I had no idea.
Oh.
It's a great song.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember for the life of me what the name of it is
Okay.
right now. But you had some Natalie Imbruglia vibes and some Phoebe Bridgers vibes.
Mm.
And I'm a huge Phoebe Bridgers fan.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Like, I took my oldest daughter, when she was here last.
Yeah.
Because I was like, we're going to see Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah.
And
I would love to see her.
You would like her. That's
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost a command because I'm that
Have
big
you
of a fan.
listened to the Boy Genius album?
I haven't yet.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Oh, I'm on it.
Yeah, I'm like, I waited a week and a half to listen to it, and I was like, why did I wait a week and a half? I should have been listening to this all week. It's so good.
No, I need to get to that. I love her solo stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't divin
Daved?
daved, yeah, into the Boy Genius stuff as much.
Yeah, I hadn't either until this album.
Okay, but I hear it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
So yeah, I'll be checking that out.
I think I was listening to it on my way here.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So those are, and I believe you actually mentioned Phoebe Bridgers as one of your influences.
Yeah.
So I was noticing some of that. There was a vibe. It's the song Garden, I think, where she has like this low end kind of singing beneath her. And you do a similar thing, not the same thing, but it's a similar thing in Villain.
Yeah,
where you have a low end singing below you.
Yes, that's, in my mind, that's a national thing.
Okay, yeah.
But yes, Phoebe does it too, and Taylor Swift does it, but she does it with the national.
So it's basically the national.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's
and that's Garrett singing.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So he gets a little guest feature on your album.
Yes, he does on that song, and he's done some other background vocals too. But there's one called "Nice Guys" that he and my husband sing on.
You got your husband in the act too.
I did. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. So Garrett and his wife Shay Farmer, who's also an artist, and then Noah, my husband, they've done like gang vocals on a couple, just because they were the people in the house at the time.
Sure, yeah.
And then Noah and Garrett sing background on a song called "Nice Guys" that I wrote about the two of them, and then yeah, it's really sweet. And then I'm just talking about all my features now that you mentioned it, but
go right ahead.
Kayla Phillips, who is an incredible artist, about to put out her debut album. You should definitely check her out.
I will.
She's got a couple singles out. She features on 2 of my songs, and then Remington Hill. Do you know who that is?
I saw that Remington Hill open for
He
you.
opened for me, yes.
Yeah.
So they also featured. I think that's everyone that sang on the album.
Wow.
But yeah.
That's so much fun. You have a lot of
Yeah.
guest stars on this.
Yes.
So it's like a community.
It really is. And I had, so Garrett pretty much, almost all of the instrumentation is him.
Mm-hmm.
My acoustic guitar that I played is on like one of the songs. I
really?
did some like keys on some of the stuff, or like
Mhm.
synth, which is like my main instrument's piano,
Mhm.
but I write everything on guitar pretty much.
Yeah.
So I'm better at piano though. So I played piano like on some of the stuff, but pretty much everything else is Garrett, except for there's one part on Villain that's one of my brothers, Justin.
Okay.
And then my brother Clay plays drums on everything except for 2 of them, which my drummer that's in my band, Cole Huffman, plays
Okay.
on the other ones. So yeah, there's like a lot of people that have their hands in the
Mhm.
album, which has been really fun.
No, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, when I did my first one, it was mostly me.
Yeah.
And my brother played drums on my album. And I had someone else play lead guitar because at best I'm a rhythm guitar player.
Same. Yeah.
So, but you know, it would have, I kind of, when I listened to it, which is not often, because like, I remember there was a time when I got into the car, or no, my wife got into the car, and I was actually listening to some tracks for the upcoming album, and she's like, "Oh, you're listening to yourself." Like, no, I'm taking notes.
Yes.
Mental
I'm
notes.
Scrutinizing everything.
Yes. I'm not just listening to myself.
Yeah.
So, but it's like that mental thing in my mind, like, oh, I'm just listening to myself. I can't do that. I have to
Yeah.
actually be making something for me to be able to listen to myself.
Yeah. I think if you like it, then listen to it. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we're making music for ourselves that we
Yeah.
like.
Right.
And we hope it finds an audience.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which, speaking of, it seems like you've definitely found yourself an audience.
I'm getting there. I'm
Yeah.
finding people to listen to me, so that's great.
You are. So you've been busy this year.
Mhm.
You've already opened up for Joshua Powell at the Lo-Fi.
And Motel Breakfast. Yeah.
And wow. Okay.
Well, that was the same show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's right. That's
Yeah.
correct. Yes. You had your album release party
Mhm.
at the Lo-Fi where you headlined.
Yes.
You're playing pretty much anywhere and everywhere, it seems.
Mhm.
What has that been like for you? Because, I mean, it literally does seem like you are just everywhere. I mean, you were even recently on Wish TV.
Yeah.
So what has this experience been like for you to go from, you know, I have a couple songs, but now, you know, playing anywhere and everywhere?
Yeah, it's been crazy. Like I said, I never pursued music before last year,
Mhm.
and I have never played out. I like, I was in the church band and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But never played my own stuff in front of people. And I had my first show was opening for Shay Farmer, which I'm also in her band. So
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, so I opened for her. That was in the end of July. And then back then I didn't have any songs out. So it's hard to book stuff when you don't have
No, exactly.
stuff out.
Yeah. So I'm kind of wondering how this is working for you.
Yeah. So Monsters came out in October, and then I opened at Black Circle on 46th Street for a band because they just Instagram messaged me and
Oh,
asked
really?
me to.
I see. If I got a message like that, I'd think that someone's spamming me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I was I knew I looked at their page. I'm really
Sure.
good at making sure people are real.
Yeah. No. I mean,
and I knew the venue too.
Okay, yeah,
so
yeah,
it was
yeah.
it was trustworthy to me. So I did that one, and then Joshua Powell has
Yeah.
gotten me a lot of my shows, and in one way or another. So I photographed him a long time ago when he did a So Far Sounds show,
Mm-hmm.
and we just connected over the internet when I sent him the photos, and then that was back in like April or something, I think, and then I've just been posting a ton online, and he was like, "Hey, I see that you're like posting a lot and like, trying to do the thing." And
Yeah.
he's like, "I want you to open for me at this show." And I feel like since then it's just been like thing after thing after thing. And
That's amazing.
he asked me to play with him at Duke's Indy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asked me to do a So-Far show, and then I got the Lo-Fi show because I had opened for them, and so I like got contacts with the Lo-Fi.
Fantastic.
And I feel like 90% of my shows are some way connected to Joshua Powell,
That's
which is
not
great.
that's not a bad connection to have.
Yeah, he's been so good to me. And then I've also just been like I'm just wanting to get every experience that I can because I'm trying to grow and get better, and I can't do that if I'm just sitting at home. I mean, I can get better, but I want to get better at performing, and I want to get better at like my nerves, not having so many nerves. And the only way that that's going to happen is if I'm playing a lot. So, I've reached out, like I saw a coffee shop that I saw them having an artist play sometimes. So I just reached out and asked them if I could, and they said yes. And then Remington, I asked them to open for me, and then they're like, "Hey, will you also play this show and this show and this show?" And then I think really it's just been like I've made so many connections that are all just panning out at this point. Like the past year, I've been going to tons of So-Far shows and meeting people I lived with Garrett and Shay for a while we were looking for a house, and just got to meet all of the artists that were coming to Garrett's studio. And it's just been a building process of networking and meeting people and becoming friends with people that are artists. And this is a really long answer to that question, but
it's a great no, that's a great answer. I mean, giving more detail that people need to, if they want to get involved and figure out how to be like, hey, I want to get out there and play a ton of shows. How do I do it?
Yeah. You just got to get connected with artists who know people. And if you are a genuine person and are like just actually supporting other artists, then they're going to support you back. And it's been really cool.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I've been seeing you. I've been following your Instagram page. You are seemingly playing a ton of times. And one of these times I'm actually going to get out and see this.
Great.
I say that for many of the people who come through here, it's difficult. I'm a father of 5. So it's difficult to get away at times.
I totally understand that.
So
not from personal experience, but I've seen it.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say you've seen it. I mean,
I have 19 nieces and 19 on my side of the family. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, are you the only girl out of 8 kids?
8 kids, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Were you the last one?
Yep.
Wow. They really waited.
They really did.
They just kept on trying until.
Yeah.
Okay. I have 4 daughters.
Okay.
And one boy.
Is the boy the youngest?
No.
Okay.
He's actually the second. But so when he arrived, it was just like, oh hey, I got 2 kids, boy and a girl. What's
perfect?
Yeah, we're good here. And it kept on going. Like, another girl.
Yeah.
Oh, another girl. Hey, another girl. All right, I think we're done here.
Okay. My mom's one of 5 girls.
Really?
Yeah.
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 No, girls are fantastic. I love all of them. And it's kind of interesting to hear you talk about your story to a certain degree, especially when you're talking about anxiety and all those kinds of things, because you have to be aware of that, especially within your kids. And that is something that I've become very much aware of as a father.
Yeah.
because it can happen so early.
Mm-hmm.
And just to be cognizant and supportive, and to be there when they need it.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
hard.
It is hard.
Mm.
It is hard. Um, but it's when you hear other people talk about it, you're like, okay, someone else is there.
Yeah.
I mean, I may not be experiencing it myself. I'm experiencing it via someone else,
Right.
but it's like I can at least understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's really hard to be love someone that's hurting and
Mhm.
struggling, and to know what to do with that. And
Yeah.
even as someone who has experienced anxiety through different times of my life, I feel like it's hard for like someone who has anxiety to even say what they need, like,
Mhm.
so it's good on you for trying to support them and be there for them, because I know that that's hard.
Yeah, no, and I, like I said, I love my daughters. And I love my son. I love my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy at times.
Yeah.
But you gotta be there for them.
Yeah,
You gotta
absolutely.
be there for them. Wow, that took a wild turn.
Yeah.
Uh, is there what else are you looking forward to this year? What else do you have on your plate that is going on? Like, you have some upcoming shows.
Mhm.
Let's talk about those real quick.
Yeah.
So where can people see you? Because you had you were listing a ton.
Yeah, so this coming week on Thursday the 20th, I'm playing at Red
The days are
Red
throwing
Door
you-
Red
okay.
Door Cafe
Okay, yes.
at 5:30 p.m. and I'm playing with Remington Hill and Rollo Brand, I think, are the two others that I'm playing with.
Hey, Rollo's going to be my guest
Oh,
next
yeah?
week. Yeah.
He's great.
No, Rollo's fantastic.
Yeah. And then on the 21st, which is the day my album comes out, I'm playing Quantum Cavern. It's gonna be like only 20 people, I think,
Oh,
can
really?
be there. It's a pretty small
Okay.
thing. So
Yeah.
so you can get those tickets online, or it's gonna be live streamed. It's gonna be like over the
Oh,
lunch
cool.
hour.
So is this like album release part 2?
Kind of, yeah. Well, yeah. So I have that the same day. I then am playing the Cyrus Place, and that's going to be a full band. So
Okay.
the Red Door Cafe and the Quantum Cavern will just be me, and then my full band will be playing at Cyrus Place from 6 to 8 with American Beach.
Mhm.
And then I have a few more after that, but
Go ahead, plug them.
I'm like, I don't know how long you want me to go out.
Oh, go as far as comfortable as you feel going out.
Okay.
Like, so you've mentioned 3 shows coming up
Yes.
here within the week.
Yeah. May 5th, I'm at Indy String Theory
Mhm.
doing an acoustic set. And then I don't have a date for it yet, but I'll be back at the Cyrus Place with Remington Hill in May, I think.
Wow. So, I
So.
mean, you are really keeping busy.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's fun. I
No,
love
that's
it.
a lot of
It's a lot
fun.
of fun.
I mean, what was I mean, we've talked about it, but we haven't really discussed it. What was it like doing that release show at the Lo-Fi?
It was so fun. It was crazy. Like, I think the final count was like 70 people.
Awesome.
Which, yeah, I had no idea what to expect when I booked it. Like I had never been a headliner at a show, so I worked my butt off to like get people there, but it was so fun. Like, everyone that came out was just so supportive, and I love playing with a band. I would 100 times prefer that to playing solo.
Sure.
And
yeah.
so that always just makes it more fun to like have people to share that experience with.
Mhm.
And I performed my poem, which I've
cool.
never performed poetry before.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so that was an interesting experience. I felt like everyone was super attentive and
That's good.
kind, and it was over by 9 p.m., which is my favorite. I love going to bed early, so.
I was just say you're not a true rock and roller.
I'm
man.
not.
No.
I make fun of myself all the time, but like, I go to shows and the other bands are just like drinking and they're talking about
Yeah.
you know, doing drugs and stuff like
Sure,
that.
yeah.
And I'm vegan. I love to go to bed by 9. I drink tea when I'm on stage. Like, I don't drink alcohol before shows ever.
Sure. Okay.
Like, I try to work out multiple days of the week. I'm like, I don't feel like I act like I should as an artist, as a rock star,
You
whatever.
are
but
acting the way you should as a
yes,
rock star.
I agree. My body cannot handle anything.
Mhm.
So like I have to be so cautious. Like my voice even today, because of playing the show on Friday and like being in a loud room where I have to like yell to talk to people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My voice is still tired today from Friday.
Wow.
So I'm like drinking my lemon and ginger tea that my
Nice. And wonderfully branded. So
yes, I take this everywhere. My Arselia Kent sticker. And that's also because I leave stuff everywhere. So people know that it's mine.
That's a brilliant move.
Yeah.
It might come across as being like, well, she's just, really full of herself. No, that's actually
No.
for you to know that she's left it.
I will leave it in your venue.
Yeah.
So
please bring it back.
yes, exactly.
And you know who it is.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, we've come to the part of the show where I need to do, not just need to do, I want to do, because I love it here, is to talk about the engine room. And the engine room, the Engine Room Recording Company, let's get that right. They are located in Broad Ripple Village, just north of downtown Indianapolis, and they specialize in making your projects go. Podcasters, bands, audio bookers, rappers, singers, songwriters, and everyone in between. The Engine Room Recording Company has the experience, the engineers, the equipment, and the environment to fuel your projects. Check out Broad Ripple's recording studio by visiting for more information on their services, artists they've recorded, and gear they have at engineroomrecordingcompany.com. And be sure to visit their Instagram page by searching up at Engine Room Recording Company. Arselia, we have talked about a lot, and it's been a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we've missed?
Wow. I don't think so. I mean,
where can people find you on the socials? Let's
on
make
socials,
sure.
Yes, at Arselia.Kent. Arselia is ARSELIA.KENT. For some reason, that name is very hard for people. The reason is because it's not a common name. Arselia.
It isn't, but I enjoy it.
Thank you. I get a lot of Arselia. Yeah.
That's okay. I don't know where
or
that one comes.
Arselia or something.
Still don't know where that. I mean,
yeah. So on my Instagram, I literally have the phonetic spelling of it.
I saw that
because everyone gets it wrong.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No. I remember when you reached out to me, and I was like, Arselia Kent, who's that? And then I went to your Instagram page, and you had it phonetically spelled.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'd already dig this person.
Yeah. I just get to. I mean, I'm fine if people want to ask how it's said or whatever, but I'm like, I just want to make it easy. Let's just put the phonetic spelling so that people know before they meet me. So yeah, that's where you can find me. I'm also on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter sometimes.
You're right. That's a sometimes place anymore.
I pretty much only post there when I've released something, but I would say Instagram is the best place to find me, and then I have a link in my bio for everything else. So
sure.
Got a website, merch, all that stuff.
All right. And the date the album is coming out?
April 21st.
That'll be streaming everywhere?
Everywhere.
Will you have physical copies that people can buy? I know it's an old school thing to do.
At the moment, no.
Okay.
Because I'm poor.
But you're a musician, of course you are.
Yeah, but eventually I would like to.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it literally took me over a year before I pressed my first album.
Yeah. It's going to be, I think it's right at 44 minutes, so it will fit on a record.
Oh.
Yeah. It's
beautiful.
Perfect.
I know, let me guess, you're already talks with Joshua about doing something with Romanus.
I actually haven't, but I see all of his videos, and those records are really cool.
Aren't they?
They're so
cool.
The
stuff that they put inside them?
Yeah.
That's
wild.
ridiculous.
It doesn't make sense. I don't understand how it works, but it's cool.
I asked him to explain it, and he's like, dude, it's, centrifugal force. I'm like,
Science.
That's all I can go with.
Yeah.
He's like, he assures me it works.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how. It still doesn't. My mind's not wrapping around it.
I mean, he's pretty trustworthy, so
no, he is.
I'm sure it works.
But...
No,
yeah. I mean,
but yeah, it's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you so much for being on the show this week. Thank you
course.
for reaching out.
Yeah.
And I mean, the timing of this actually has worked out quite well.
Yeah.
Because I think you reached out back in February or something
Mhm.
like that. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm booked until April.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, it's right after your record release party and
Yep.
just before the album is actually coming out. So, I mean, this is a perfect timing. Check out Arselia's album, Villain. It is out on the 21st. And don't call it Villains like I accidentally did at one point. That's a Verve Pipe song. And also Verve Pipe album. This is singular. Villain. Check it out. Thank you, Arselia. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you again next week. My guest will be Rollo Brand, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So tune in. See you guys. Bye.